England's speed proved too much, but creating chances still a challenge. Italy, the champions of Europe and conquerors of England, failed to beat Bulgaria at home on Thursday. Maybe football is not as straightforward as some people think. Gareth Southgate and England, meanwhile, have a 100% World Cup qualifying record and can begin to think about a place in the Qatar finals in winter 2022. The encouraging thing about this group of England players is that they are fundamentally talented. Even the most determined curmudgeon cannot deny that. Conversations and discussions about the manager and his tactics will always be there. Whenever with England was this not the case? For a nation that has won as many major trophies as Greece, Czechoslovakia and Portugal, an awful lot is expected. At least in part, this drives recent criticism. So this was a timely reminder of what the current England team is capable of. Largely impotent during a first half that saw them unable to think their way through and round a Hungary team determined to remain resolutely in their own half, they cut loose once Raheem Sterling scored their first goal early in the second period. It was speed that did it in the end. It was not Southgate's tactics or instructions. It was just the speed of England's football. After halftime, they moved the ball quicker and with more sharpness. Once they managed that and scored the opening goal, they clicked into a rhythm and Hungarian resistance fell apart. That is often the way the psychology of football works. There had been much talk of the home crowd at the Puskás Stadium, but that proved to be a decoy too. Supporters need their team to do something on which an atmosphere can build. In Budapest, Hungary gave their fans nothing and by way of return the locals threw paper cups at England players after they scored and monkey chants at some of the visiting substitutes. We will hear more about that. In defending his tactical approach ahead of the game, Southgate spoke of his team's comfort in possession of the ball and the way his England likes to build play from front to back. All that was evident here. Creating goal-scoring opportunities is something that can sometimes come less easily to them. That remains a challenge, particularly against the really good teams. For a while it was in this game, too. Here the challenge was familiar for a game of this type. Hungary earned 2 good draws against Germany and France in this stadium in the summer, but did not get there by being expansive. They struck their opponents on the break, and that was clearly the plan once more. As such, possession was not an issue for England. They had bags of it. The problem was finding a way through. That was a puzzle that lasted until halftime, but became a memory once Sterling scored, and in doing so compelled Hungary to effectively join in with the game. Early on, with Jack Grealish and Sterling lively either side of Harry Kane, there were reasons for optimism as England stretched the home team across the width of the pitch. Looking at England in the long term to the World Cup and beyond this still feels like the way forward, and it certainly was here in the end. When Southgate's team get the ball into wide areas with overloads coming from midfield and full-back, they are at their most dangerous. It was football such as this that brought England such success against Czech Republic, Germany, Denmark and, early on, Italy during the summer. It was absent for long periods before half-time here. It is never a good sign when Kane is seen dropping deep in search of the ball, and at times here he left footprints in the center circle. But it was not to last, and it was right back Kyle Walker who signaled a change of tempo early in the second half. His through pass to Kane was zipped perfectly across the turf, and the captain should have scored. The first goal was then reminiscent of the summer. A counter-attack, a dashing overlap by Mason Mount and a pull-back dispatched by Sterling. Lovely football, and that was the game. Hungary were not good enough to get back into it. Maybe the home team should have been more ambitious from the start. Maybe that would have got the home supporters involved. Here, those questions were for someone other than Southgate. The England manager has a belief in what he does and will not change. He is also human, though, so he will feel vindicated by this performance and this scoreline. England are a very good side in the making. Tactics and systems will impact on that, but only to a degree. Gree. 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 Gree.